Now let's break that down. Now we'll talk about the basics of self-funding. Most of your clients today are probably fully insured. And the reason most smaller companies are fully insured is for this reason right here. It's budgetable. Easy, flat monthly payment. They know that they have to pay this every month, and they pay it. The problem is, if this is $1,200,000, $1.2 million, they're going to pay $100,000 a month. But if their people only consume $600,000 of health care, they don't get any money back, and the carrier still wants to raise their rates next year. You see it year in and year out with all your clients. The healthy groups get increases. The unhealthy groups get 40% increase. As a self-funded guy for the last 10-plus years, that model is just wrong to me. To me, if a client can understand the risk and the total cost is comparable to their fully insured, why not jump in over here? Because the reality is they have stop-loss protection, and they only pay for the health care they consume. So now I'm going to break down what is self-funding. There's 3 risks that your client is going to be concerned about. And if you address these 3 risks in advance, they're definitely going to be interested in getting a competitive quote from you. The first risk is specific member risk. What if one of my people has catastrophically high claims? What if it's a wife? What if it's a child? What if some specific member has catastrophically high claims? It's a very good point. That risk is insured through what's called specific stop loss. That's probably going to represent specific stop loss 20% of your plan costs. But it's a very important component. And the way it works is your employer gets to choose a claims threshold that they're comfortable with. We can go as low as $10,000, so let's make that assumption. What that means is your client will pay the first $10,000 of claims for each specific member. Every employee, every spouse, every dependent has a $10,000 claim liability. The moment anyone's claims exceed $10,000, specific stop loss kicks in immediately and pays all claims for the rest of the year, no matter how high they are. So you've now addressed risk 1. You can stop worrying about that, Mr. Client. Risk 2 is, what if none of my specific members have high claims, but all of my members have moderately high claims? That's called aggregate risk. And that's insured through an aggregate stop-loss policy. It's called aggregate stop-loss. An aggregate looks at all claims under the specific threshold, so it looks at all claims under $10,000 and draws a line in the sand. The line in the sand is this light blue box. It tells your client exactly what their claims risk is. And the way the aggregate carrier comes up with that is they look at what they think the claims will be. Remember, this is all claims under $10,000. Claims over $10,000 are paid by the specific policy. So aggregate looks at claims under 10 and then adds a corridor, which is, generally speaking, 25%. So your aggregate claims risk is all claims under 10,000 on an expected basis, what they think will happen statistically, plus 25%. And you see that in black and white before you sign up, and it's represented by this light blue box. Let's assume this light blue box is $800,000. And let's assume this dark blue box is $400,000. That's $1.2 million for the whole thing. Over here is $1.2 million. If I can promise you that your risk in the next 12 months is $1.2 million, but you can have all your data totally transparent, and if you don't spend this $800,000, you get every penny back, wouldn't you rather have this than this? All of your clients are going to say yes, if you can address the risk. I've talked about 2 of the risks. I'll talk about the third in just a moment. These fixed costs, by the way, include PPO rental fee, again, in our case, Aetna, Cigna, or any other regional PPO. The administrative costs for the medical, the pharmacy, our nurses, our software, and then your commissions are in here, and so are our revenues. This is what your client's guaranteed to spend. This is what they might spend if all these claims are incurred. Now, the way a traditional self-funded model works, if you want to think about a 5,000 life group, they're going to pay 1/12 of your fixed costs each month, and then they'll get billed weekly for claims. But on a traditional self-funded chassis, this entire box could hit in the first month, which would bankrupt a small company. And that's why historically you've come to learn that most people will tell you self-funding is not viable under 200 lives. It's simply too risky.